Hello everyone, I'm the Saxy Gamer. Today we're here for yet another episode of Civilization 6 Tips, where today we're going to be taking a look at the commercial hub, the economic-based district in Civilization 6. So, in order to unlock the commercial hub, all you have to do is you have to reach the currency technology, which is a little bit farther than some of the other ones that we've talked about so far. It's not too bad. All you have to do is research pottery, and then writing, and then currency comes after that. It should be noted that since this is in the classical era, it's going to have a much higher science cost than something like writing. You can see that writing is 40 science and currency is 120 science. So that's triple the price, and that does make it a little bit more difficult to rush currency if you want to really get down a fast commercial hub. So that's something that I wouldn't really recommend doing, just because it is going to take you still a decent amount of time to reach currency. So rushing it isn't really a great idea. It is fairly easy to boost the Eureka for currency as well, because all you have to do is establish a trade route. So normally I find that you can either purchase a trader with gold to do that, or you can just build one after you get foreign trade as a civic. So once you unlock the commercial hub district, you will be able to place it down, much like with all of the other districts in the game. Well, not all of them, but most of them. You can place it on any land tile, as long as that you have the tech to clear what is on that land tile, and as long as there is not a luxury resource or a mountain on that tile. As far as adjacency bonuses for the commercial hub go, it will receive +2 gold from being adjacent to a river or a harbor, and then it will receive +1 gold for every 2 adjacent districts as well. So one of, a very interesting interaction that I just kind of figured out that I would like to point out here is that with the commercial hub, since it already gets +2 gold from being adjacent to a river, you don't get an additional 2 more when you're playing as Wilhelmina. So that's something I actually didn't even realize until I was setting up to do this earlier. But so apparently it does not stack with Wilhelmina, which does suck because that would be really insane. But the bulk of your adjacency bonus on your commercial hubs are just going to be coming from having them adjacent to rivers, because in general I don't think it's a good idea to have both a commercial hub and a harbor, for a reason that we will talk about in just a little bit here. So as far as bonuses just for having the commercial hub placed are concerned, we don't have very many. We have 1 great merchant point per turn, which is pretty much equal with all the other districts and their respective great people. And for citizen yields for the commercial hub, once you build buildings to get citizen slots, you get +4 gold per citizen, which is actually fairly decent. This is one of the districts that I think citizens are almost kind of worth it, especially early on. Later on, it's not going to be particularly great, but +4 gold per citizen that you have established in a commercial hub is actually a decent yield, and it's one of the few citizen yields that I think is actually moderately worthwhile. In addition to that, the commercial hub has a base cost of 54 production, which then scales based on the various districts that are constructed in the game, and a number of other factors as well. So just pay attention that in the bottom of the little window here, you can see that it actually will cost 107 production. If you don't have Rise and Fall, then whenever you construct the commercial hub, you will gain 1 additional trade route. But if you do have Rise and Fall, then you're going to have to wait until the market to get that. And this kind of brings up the thing that I was talking about with you generally don't want both a harbor and a commercial hub in a city. And the reason for that is because whenever you have, you cannot get 2 additional trade routes from having both. If you have a commercial hub and you build a harbor, then you will not get that additional trade route whenever you build the harbor or build the lighthouse. Same thing with the reverse of that. So if you have a harbor in a city already and you build a commercial hub, you're not going to get an additional trade route from just having the commercial hub or from building a market. So that is something that does kind of suck, because that was pretty abusable early on. I believe it was patched in one of the, I want to say it was the spring of 2017 patch maybe, but that was patched. So unfortunately you cannot get as many trade routes from having both commercial hubs and harbors, so I would generally advise that you pick one or the other. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the buildings that we can place in our commercial hubs. So the tier 1 building for the commercial hub is the market, and it is unlocked with currency right whenever you unlock the commercial hub as well. And as far as the benefits for the market are concerned, it will grant +1 trade route capacity if you have Rise and Fall. And once again, that is if the city does not yet have a lighthouse, so there really is no purpose in having both a market and a lighthouse. Well, there kind of is, but it's very, very much diminishing returns, so it's probably not worth the production. But you will also get +2 gold. You will get 1 citizen slot to put a citizen to get that +4 gold per turn if you so desire, and you will get 1 great merchant point as well. As far as costs for this, we have a base production cost of 120 production. So I do think that you should build markets in every city that you have a commercial hub, especially if you're playing Rise and Fall, because since you no longer get the trade route just from having the commercial hub in Rise and Fall, that is one of the best benefits of the commercial hub, and just, being able to boost your economy is the ability to have more trade routes, because you can use those trade routes for food or production or gold or any number of things. So if you're going to build a commercial hub, I would always plan on building a market as well. It's not very expensive and it has some pretty good benefits, so overall I am a huge fan of the market. For the Tier 2 building for the commercial hub, we have the bank, which is unlocked very conveniently with the banking technology. It will provide plus 5 gold per turn, 1 citizen slot, and 1 great merchant point per turn as well. It does have a production cost of 290 production. So the bank, I think, is not quite as good as the market just because you don't get an additional trade route, but plus 5 gold per turn is pretty decent, and if you're able to get a fair number of these, then you can really boost your gold per turn output. If you're going for something like Domination Victory, where you're going to need a lot of gold to support your army, I think that it is a wise idea to build a decent amount of banks. And I think in general, if you have the resources to be able to afford to put the production into a bank, I think that it is a pretty good idea, because in the long run, that gold will stack up, and maybe you can use that to purchase some units or to purchase some other buildings. So you do kind of get a return on investment, kind of hilariously, considering the fact that this is an economic building, but you definitely do get a bit of a return on investment whenever you build banks. So if you have the resources to build them, I would recommend building them in as many cities as you have commercial hubs. And for the Tier 3 building for the bank, we have the Stock Exchange, which is unlocked with the Economics technology. It will provide plus 7 gold per turn. It grants you 1 additional citizen slot and will provide 1 great merchant point per turn as well. In addition to this, it has a production cost of 390 production. So the Stock Exchange, much like the bank, I think is pretty good. I don't think it's quite as good just because, the difference from the market to the bank is 3 gold per turn. The difference from the bank to the Stock Exchange is 2 gold per turn. So it is a little bit less of an upgrade going from Tier 2 to Tier 3. But I still do think that 7 gold per turn is pretty decent, and that will stack up if you build these in a lot of cities. So much like with the bank, I would say that if you have the resources that you don't necessarily need to produce anything else, then I would recommend getting a Stock Exchange in the cities that you have commercial hubs, because once again, you're going to kind of get that return on investment with the gold output that you're going to be getting from the Stock Exchange, so you will in effect get that production back. So yeah, pretty much just if you're able to build the Stock Exchange, you have, you don't necessarily, it's not necessary that you produce anything else, like something that would be important, like units or a specific wonder, then I think it is a good idea to casually just get Stock Exchanges as you can in the cities that you have your commercial hubs. And the last thing that I would like to talk about in this video is the project for the Commercial Hub, which is known as Commercial Hub Investment. So with Commercial Hub Investment, it will once again just kind of run until it finishes, and when it's running, it will provide a large amount of gold per turn, and it will provide a bulk of great merchant points once finished. Much like with most of the other district projects, I don't think that this is particularly good, just because you could be using that production to do pretty much anything else, and unlike with the buildings in the commercial hub that you get a pretty decent return on investment throughout the entire game, once you stop running the project, you're going to lose that extra gold per turn that you would have, so I don't think it's particularly useful. One of the times that I do find that this can be very useful is if say you're playing a domination game and you're building up an army and you're going to lose some of the troops, but so you build a few extra, and that maybe pushes you down into really low gold per turn or maybe even negative gold per turn, then I think it is worthwhile to run Commercial Hub Investment in 1 or 2 cities just to make sure that you don't lose too much gold. But outside of that, I don't really find Commercial Hub Investment to be all that useful. So thank you everyone for watching. I have been the Saxy Gamer. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you're looking for more Civilization 6 content, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.